Even so, it is impossible to think of death as a lasting, pure, and simple. Attempts to express death in language are futile, all the way into logic, for who should be the subject of which we predicate that it is dead, here and now? Lust, which wants eternity, according to a luminous word of Nietzsche's, is not the only one to balk at passing. If death were that absolute which philosophy tried in vain to conjure positively, everything is nothing. All that we think, too, is thought into the void. None of it is truly thinkable, for it is a feature of truth that it will last, along with its temporal core. Without any duration at all, there would be no truth, and the last trace of it would be engulfed in death, the absolute. The idea of absolute death is hardly less unthinkable than that of immortality, but for all its being unthinkable, the thought of death is not proof against the unreliability of any kind of metaphysical experience. The web of semblance in which men are caught extends to their imagined ways of tearing the veil. Kant's epistemological question, how is metaphysics possible, yields to a question from the philosophy of history. Is it still possible to have a metaphysical experience? That experience was never located so far beyond the temporal as the academic use of the word metaphysics suggests. It has been observed that mysticism, whose very name expresses the hope that institutionalization may save the immediacy of metaphysical experience from being lost altogether, establishes social traditions and comes from tradition, across the lines of demarcation drawn by religions that regard each other as heretical. Kabbalah, the name of the body of Jewish mysticism, means tradition. In its furthest ventures, metaphysical immediacy did not deny how much of it is not immediate. If it cites tradition, however, it must also admit its dependence upon the historic state of mind. Kant's metaphysical ideas were removed from the existential judgments of an experience that required material for its fulfillment, yet the place he assigned to them, despite their antinomies, was in consistence with pure reason. Today, those ideas would be as absurd as the ideas expressing their absence are said to be, in a deliberately defensive classification. But if I will not deny that the philosophy of history has overthrown the metaphysical ideas, and yet I cannot bear that overthrow unless I am to deny my own consciousness as well. Then a confusion that goes beyond mere semantics tends straightway to promote the fate of metaphysical ideas to a metaphysical rank of its own. The secret paralogism is that despair of the world, a despair that is true, based on facts, and neither aesthetic Weltschmerz nor wrong, reprehensible consciousness, guarantees to us that the hopelessly missed things exist, though existence at large has become a universal guilt context. Of all the disgrace deservedly wreathed by theology, the worst is the positive religion's howl of rejoicing at the unbeliever's despair. They have gradually come to intone their Te Deum wherever God is denied, because at least his name is mentioned. As the means usurp the end in the ideology swallowed by all populations on earth, so, in the metaphysics that has risen nowadays, does the need usurp that which is lacking. The truth content of the deficiency becomes a matter of indifference. People assert it as being good for people. The advocates of metaphysics argue in unison with the pragmatism they hold in contempt, with the pragmatism that dissolves metaphysics a priori. Likewise, despair is the final ideology, historically and socially as conditioned as a course of cognition that has been gnawing at the metaphysical ideas and cannot be stopped by a cui bono.